Alright, here we are, back at it again.
So some of the... Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so we
I
have,
can talk a little bit.
we've explained, yeah, you know what, you do that, I gotta focus,
Sure.
These puzzles are hard.
No worries. So, for starters, with our game, one of the first things that we addressed was not having a tutorial, right? And so we introduced these new, really nicely illustrated UI elements by Gavin on our team, showing movement and how to restart, right? And so that was Griffin attempting the first try of this puzzle, right? And so you actually have to go around to solve it. But with these UI elements, like, the user can easily tell what to do. And so we also found a pretty distinct look with our environment on a per level basis when it comes to like lighting conditions. But yeah, in Overgrown you play Bud, a little plant rosebud with a cassette attached to him. His sort of vines have kind of grown into them and become what we would associate with the head, right? And so he's also got this robotic arm here, and you'll see functionality in that later. And so in Overgrown, it's primarily like a platform puzzle game where you use your vine as this resource that limits how you can solve a puzzle, but also gives you new opportunities to solve puzzles, which you're going to see further ahead. And so yes, you'll collide with it, and it'll cut you off from going certain ways. On top of that, we introduced a slow walk function because some of the tolerances that we have to asking the player to do are quite tight and challenging. And so with slow walk, it just becomes much more bearable to solve puzzle elements.
It also prevents you from falling off ledges, like in Minecraft. That was something a lot of people wanted because there was some frustration there.
Additionally,
this level, yeah. But yeah, I can take it from here. So the way I've kind of been designing these levels is almost in like a linear progression, where it's not like I don't like it when a puzzle is kind of like an on or off state, like either you know the answer or you don't. So I kind of imagine it like going in a direction and there being progression within moments in the puzzle where you realize, oh, if I'm bumping in here, I need to leave myself room next time. But then if I come here, I start to realize that I'm not going to make this, and that's a problem. So now I got to try again. And now knowing what I know, I can leave myself some space here, drop down, drop my seat on the pressure plate to keep that door open over there, and come on through. This time I'll be careful to weave my route through there, so that I'm able to walk on top of it in case I don't mess up. That's my fault. But yeah, and then in the next level is really where we've had a big evolution of our content, and we've started getting more into some moodier art styles and more like distinct themes for each section. Press the pop buttons.
So yeah, what you're noticing here with what we've decided to do with our tether system, our vine, or our root even you can call it, is we've introduced these foliage carts that both serve as like the motif of like this is a growing vine, but also it sort of hides the cylindrical joints in our vine system. And yeah, from here, this point of verticality and elevation, you can actually look back and kind of see what was the right solution of how you solve that puzzle. And so it's one thing, even with a third-person camera, to be solving things close up, but further away, it's different context.
So coming through this crack in the wall into the next level, we have a big tone shift as we're progressing higher up into the building. And this is definitely one of the more challenging puzzles I've done a million times, but honestly sometimes I even forget the solution. But so here is a big use of this as a little tightrope for me to walk across. Very carefully drop my seat there, and then come around. Now I would be able to just progress forward from here, but that grass is blocking my way. And I've learned that I need the seed to get through it, so now I need to come back for it, come over here, and that's why I was careful at the beginning of the level to leave myself this leeway right here to step over my route, because or else it would have gotten in my way, and I would have gotten messed up right at the end of the puzzle. And here we see the door is trying to come back up since I've removed the seed from it, but it's getting stuck on my route. The route is kind of a pain sometimes when I bump into it, but a lot of times it also helps me out. And then here is our new set of mechanics where we have some obstacles that, I mean, clearly would be impossible. There's no way up. except that Bud has this mechanical arm that can extend way out in front of him, and I can punch these pillars down in any direction that I like, but I don't think that's going to help me very much. So I can see that there's an off pressure plate up there, so it's probably the first place I want to get to. So I'll go ahead and punch this, and then I can set my seat here. And this one is too thick for me to be able to step onto it from down below, but I think if I drop down, yeah. There we go. Then come here to the next checkpoint. And so now this is where the pillars really get elaborated on. My first instinct here would probably be to punch it in the direction that I came from. And we learn now that this can open doors for me, which is very nice, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do from here since this wall is too tough to get up on. So I'm going to have to find another way to get that plate later. And instead, I think I'm going to use this as a ramp. Oh, but you see, that's not good. That doesn't reach at all. I'm pretty stuck here. I'm not going to make that. However, got a little trick up my sleeve. It's actually coming out of my back. Why don't I wrap this around and then knock this over, and it'll get stuck on it. So now I'm able to make it. You can come here, and I'm thinking maybe I'll go ahead and punch this down, because that might get in my way later if I try to walk through there. And then that pressure plate I'm not going to be able to put the seat on, but that one I will. So I'm definitely thinking I gotta punch this down. So now I can come down here. Let me be careful to be on the right side instead of the left side so that I don't block myself off from come back up later. I can slow walk up here, place the seat down on the pressure plate and come down. Oh man, but I really screwed myself here because now that pillar that I punched down is in my way. But if I didn't punch it, it would be in my way on the right side. So there's gotta be a way to have a happy medium. So I'm gonna try this again and let me see what I can think of.
So with Overgrown and our philosophy towards puzzles and puzzle solving is that's something that you never quite get perfectly the first time, right? Especially when like learning new mechanics. So we embraced the iterative nature of like the puzzle solving process, and that was kind of surprisingly kind of in stark contrast to how nature solves its problems. Nature kind of solves things like effortlessly without even trying, and that's something that we kind of had in the back of our mind with like the plant growth and the lore of the beings that were here at one point. And so we found that it was appropriate that you would solve things in a sort of imperfect and iterative way, because while Bud is a plant-like being, he has sentience, and he's got sentience combined with sort of technology that makes his body. And so that's kind of what guided us in the ways that we design and solve puzzles. So kind of the experience that we wanted to give the user. Nice.
Thank you. I might have played this a couple times. But yeah, so then here in our last puzzle, the pillars have really enabled us to play a lot more with verticality and getting a good vista of the level at the beginning. So we come down on a little bit of a slide, and now I've got quite a few options here, but I can see from some of that stone sticking out that I'll bet that pillar will help me get to a later part of the level very quickly. So I'm going to try coming around here, and then very carefully coming up here. Yeah. Let's see where this can get me. Sometimes I like just trying to progress in the levels, even just to see a little bit more later. And yeah, I see the problem now. I'd love to drop down to the end, but there's this pillar in my way. And if I punch it from here, well, that's not going to do much for me. So clearly I can see that I'm going to have to punch it down in some sort of direction. So now I'm going to go back into it having known that. And I think this time I'm going to try and get somewhere I'm not supposed to be by using my route. Oh, but now I've blocked myself off. So why don't I try punching it this way, and maybe I can get there later. I'll drop it down. And now, if I go to the right there, I'll be able to punch that pillar down, but it's going to get stuck on that rebar there, so I don't think that's going to go far. So I think I'm going to walk across my route here. And then I can just barely fit my arm through here. And there we go. Now it's completely out of my way, and I should be able to finish out the level. Here we go. And I still got my seat on me for this. And into the light. Oh, it's the roof. Oh my goodness. So here we have a nice little ending sequence for some of our 2D art. And there's Bud. In the dirt, having grown. Overgrown. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
And now
Here's an awesome menu.
And now we have a whole new Sprout level.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Cycle.
Who knows?
Very cool. What else do you want to show us from this? Very nice stuff.
Yeah, I can
If you
show
want
us
to
our
talk
future
about,
plans a little bit.
yeah, if you want to talk about our roadmap.
Yeah, I can go ahead and screen share that, because if you don't mind.
Please.
Great, can you see okay? Hello? Cool, thank you. So here, let me zoom in a little bit. How's this? Awesome. So here we are. And so after kind of everything that we've worked on, there's still some things left that need to be taken care of before we bring this to an audience. But if you want to play the current build right now that you just saw, you can check the itch.io link up here, fading-like.itch.io/overgrown, and you can go ahead and play it. So with our tutorial, some of the things that we need to address are showing the key for slow walk as well as punching, just to sort of show the player everything that they can do, right, or at least what button it is. Preferably not all at the beginning, but rather showing those elements as they come up. And so that'll be quite easy since we have our tutorial system set up already. We have new animations for Bud that we don't have implemented yet, but they are done, which will be in the game soon. We'd like our environment art to be a little bit more readable, and that'll be, we're aiming for a launch date of May 1st, if everything goes according to plan. So that's pretty short. That's in about 32 days, a little over a month. And so we'd like the environment art to be a little bit more readable, especially those pillars, as well as like doors and things, allowing the player to highlight like key areas of interest to the player, while still giving the map its identity. And so it'll be much more populated. And then audio refinement we'd like to also happen. So that includes guiding the player in emotion and tone, and how they could feel while they're solving puzzles and learning more. Right, we're kind of starting from a drearier tone with like our darker soundscape of echoes and no sort of wind or life. It's kind of greenish, and then we kind of go into this light where there's a lot more sound, and then finally into this out into that light, where into the exterior, the outside, where you kind of realize that this world, while there is life there, it's pretty hostile. And so we'd like the audio to kind of support our narrative and player experience. And so we're going to have some time for testing. So that'll be with like 20 days left. Sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat. And then we're going to have our Steam and itch page assets ready, and a fully fledged trailer set up that has all of our features and kind of doesn't give away the ending, but still kind of teases what you'd be doing. Some final bug fixes with time permitting, and then shipping the build to both Steam and itch. And then we will launch on May 1st.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Number of questions and praise from chat, unless you have anything more to add.
No, that's it for like specific plans, and we can go ahead and answer questions. But if you don't mind, Griffin, would you go ahead and continue streaming gameplay while we answer questions?
Yeah, let me put it right back up.
Perfect. Yeah, people were loving the audio comment in Twitch about it being great ASMR noise.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
I just want to enjoy listening to it.
I'm not included. Go ahead.
Let's see. Dove Jacobson asks, did you make any sort of level editor or just build directly in Unity?
This is not Unreal.
Yeah, this is Unreal.
I thought so.
Yeah, so we struggled with it's level streaming specifically, and that sometimes kind of locked assets from being affected ourselves. But yeah, this was Unreal, but post processing effects were just universally applied on a level-to-level basis.
Yeah, I have made a sort of dev kit with each of the individual objects. So on my side, I do the blueprinting and the level design. But once the blueprint is done, the actual elements from it, like, you know, the doors, the pillars, and everything can be implemented without any blueprinting knowledge. There's some UI elements that I've included just for the developer side that just make the streamline of a lot. It makes it a lot more streamlined, and it's almost like a video game level editor, but still just in Unreal, just a developer side tool.
Jen Lee asks, are there any anti-frustration features? For example, I'd hate to have to start over from the beginning of the level if I accidentally fell off something.
Sure.
Yeah, of course. So we have, so the tutorial teaches you that at any time you can press the R key to restart back to your checkpoints, which we're pretty generous with. We're gonna add some zones for if you fall off to just automatically take you right back. We have the shift to walk. We'll go a little bit. But you can hold shift to walk, and it also protects you from falling off ledges. So like, I'm desperately trying to fall off right now, but it's like a couple other video games that prevent you from falling, because we just wanna test your brain. We're not too worried about platforming or anything like that.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, well, we're not going to be resetting the player all the way to square one of a level. We want you to plan your process and enjoy the trial and error from the beginning of a puzzle to the very end of it, with multiple puzzles throughout each level.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We tech support wants to know UE5 or 4.
5 all the way.
Yeah.
Excellent. Dove also said loves the freedom of action and the sense that there may be multiple solutions to any puzzle. Let's see. Wet tech support. I'm not normally a puzzle guy, but this is one I want to try.
Glad to hear that.
Pop McPop, are there more mechanics you're looking to add?
Yeah, so we feel like we have a good sense of what the player's base ability set is with all the. I'm in trouble with that part right there, as you can see. But we feel like the player's kind of core set of mechanics is most importantly the root. Everything has to revolve around the root. That's always been our theme. We have the seed and we have the punch. And then any mechanics that are added after that, we want to feel like we avoid having it be a gimmick. And my philosophy on what a gimmick is versus a mechanic is when it doesn't interact with that core moveset. So we're looking into other, like, we're always thinking about contextual elements that would interact with the player's moveset nicely. But I think we're in a pretty final state with what the punch can do, and the pillars being a good example of that.
Right, and so mechanics-wise, I mean, we'd like to revamp audio just a little bit more with both guiding the player emotionally, like beat by beat throughout this experience, but also in terms of mechanics, just to communicate the state of different puzzle elements. Audio will help us a lot better. We do have some like leaf falling VFX set up on our route, but at the moment they're a little bit small, so we're just gonna like rescale those. And then what's being done when you control this pressure plate is you're changing the magnetism of this magnet further off in the map, right? So we want to have like visual effects there and just some audio there, communicating what you've done.
All right, excellent. Jennifer says, I love how the spotlight follows the character. I was worried that a correct path might not properly be shown to the player. Will on Twitch says, yeah, I love using your own route to create new traversal options. Very cool. Folks talking about it, reminding them of It Takes Two and Psychonauts.
Yeah, I've thought of that a little.
That is a very, very high compliment. I tell them thank you so much.
Sayu says, since you have the mechanical arm to push objects, I think it'd be cool to be able to grapple to other specific objects and have the trail follow as well.
Very interesting.
Could be.
We have to be very specific elements to grapple. You know, letting free grapple can really get out of hand.
Oh yeah, I can. That's one of my favorite mechanics in games, though. It's just always so fun to play with.
Yeah. The thing I like about the state of the design philosophy in Overgrown is it kind of goes along with the story of you as both Bud, this character, but also as the player. You're kind of against these impossible odds, and there's a lot of rules put on you just due to the fact that you are very small in a very big world. But it's through your own creativity that you like totally break those rules and get places you feel like you shouldn't be.
Excellent, excellent. Jen Lee has also praised the sounds. They're way atmospheric. Nicely done. All right. And you're doing this as a free launch, right? You are primarily use this to get more attention to your work?
Yeah, that's right. So we've got our itch page, but we're going to be charging $0.00. So you can find out itch and Steam.
Very, very cool.
We're on a worldwide plan to get people into puzzle games.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm sure I hope you all are friends of, hurting to think of his name right now. The last game he did, the Prince and the Gardener, just came out. One of our best local indie groups. Great little puzzle platformer. Very different look, but still the garden theme going around your vines. Alright, great stuff. I am going to go ahead and take them back out of here, and we're going to come back with Slugfest. And until then, thank you one more time. Overgrown.
Thank you.
Thank you.